Oh, I'm live now. Wasn't prepared for that, but whatever. I'm just getting everything set up on the computer so I can pull up the comments starting a teeny bit early. I'm a little concerned though that this little bad boy may not have enough battery power and the cord is a little short. Um, so I might actually go. Do I still have an extension over there? I don't. This should be interesting. Ooh. I don't have any computers that are charged well. This is my own fault for not having this computer charged up all the way, but you win some, you lose some. I'm going to wait a few minutes before actually starting because 3 minutes early, so I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's being safe, happy and healthy out there. I know it's a little bit of a crazy time with everything going on. We're not going to get into that because this is Q&A, but I hope everyone's just being safe, happy, and healthy. But yeah, so we got 8 questions that came in on the comments. And obviously, I'll take any questions that come from you guys. So just loading up the computer now. It's been crazy weekend thus far. Some crazy news too with comic book stuff. A lot more details coming out with the Batman movie, as well as some other things too. So should be interesting movie season coming up. But yeah, so the basic rules of this is going to be as such. I have the 8 questions that I have from my YouTube channel that I will target and answer first in no particular order, and then I will take any comments that you guys throw down in the comment section, and we'll kind of go from there. I'm looking for this to be maybe an hour or so, not too much more. I know time is money for a lot of people. Plus, also, me and the family have stuff that we gotta take care of today. But I am looking forward to hitting up all these questions. I am looking forward to hitting up all your questions and talking it all through. All this has, again, no in particular order. I'm probably going to be going more recent downwards from what it looks like. Let me just. Okay, so we got a minute before we'll actually start. I'll hold true to the 12 o'clock hour. How's everyone doing out there? Good? I hope so. Hope you're playing a lot of video games, reading a lot of comics, eating a lot of bad food. I tell you, I had my cheat day this past Thursday, and I did unforgivable things. Chipotle burrito, bacon and cheese, American chop suey, some like triple decker chocolate cake was crazy. That what did me in, and then I had gummies and some chocolate at the end of the night. Rough cheat day. Rough cheat day. And then of course a slew of energy drinks. So it is now 12 o'clock, so we'll start getting things started. And this is a terrible angle because it makes me look pudgier than I am. I'm not saying I'm not pudgy, but it's making me look pudgier. But like I said just a few minutes ago, I'm going to hit up these questions in no particular order. I'm going to go through all of them. We have about 8 on here from the video that I posted up on Friday. And then I will also tackle all the questions that you guys have. Fun fact for you, that Friday after I did that run, I did a second run with my wife. And I got a severe sunburn. You can't see it, but it's on my chest and it's on my back. Because when we were running the second time, the sun was out like crazy and I was wearing a workout shirt. So neither here nor there. So let's start things up. I think I'm going to go these in reverse order. I'm just going to go top down. So I think it's the more recent going down. But first one, Clock Nova 1. Andrew, if you had to choose 3... Oh, before I go into this, I'm going into this blind. I haven't read the questions yet, so I haven't prepared. So if I have to think a little bit, sorry. But anyways, Andrew, if you had to choose 3 Batman in-universe characters, good or evil, doesn't matter, to kill off permanently, i.e. they can never be written about, drawn about, or played in the movies, They can be referenced, however. Who would they be, in what order, and why? Ooh, okay. So how about we do at least one villain, at least one hero, and then we'll go from there. A individual who is an ally of Batman who should be killed off. Ooh, that's a tough one. I wouldn't do Dick. I wouldn't do any of the Robins. I wouldn't do Catwoman. Uh, Alfred's kind of dead right now, so you can't really pick him. Although, dead means what in the the DC universe. So that leaves me with the Batgirls, and that leaves me with some of the side characters like John Paul Valley, Batwing, so and so forth. Ooh, that's a tough one. And then for villains, you got the classics. I've always wanted to kill off the Joker, but I think that's just bad business, just in general. You can't really kill off the Joker and never write him again. So then you have to look at some of the other villains that come out. Yeah, let's do this. I would have. Okay. I'm gonna be a bit. I'm gonna be a bit bold, and I don't want to do this. I'll kill off Tim Drake. Even though I just said I don't want to kill off the Robins, kill off Tim Drake because right now, as a character, he's kind of floating in a nebulous area. So why not? And it's a big enough character in the Batman universe that it will affect Batman forever. A second character, let's do Jim Gordon, right? Jim Gordon's been there since the beginning. Why not shift at I think it's a dramatic shift for the character. I think it would be affecting the Batman universe not only for Bruce but also for Barbara, and it would allow someone else like Harvey Bullock or maybe Renee Montoya to step up and become commissioner in chief. And then as a villain, again, let's go Ra's al Ghul. And the reason why is Ra's al Ghul's stick is getting a little old with him dying, coming back, League of Assassins, playing from the shadows. I would really like the ascension of the League of Assassins to permanently go to Talia. Because Talia at this point is a villain in my eyes. She's no longer neutral or pseudo-good love interest. She is flat out evil. And her having a superpower like the League of Assassins and being the mother to Batman's son, I think just adds more fuel to that fire. So I hope that answered the question. That was tough, and I don't want to kill off Tim Drake or Commissioner Gordon. Ra's al Ghul, indifferent on, even though I love him as a character. Frank and Bianca asks, how has the pandemic impacted your comic book buying? For instance, did you have to cut back on your pull list? Okay. Excellent question. So, fun fact, I have not picked up my comics in 2 months since the whole order to close all the businesses down. There have been opportunities to pick them up, but I just haven't had a chance to. I do plan on picking them up maybe in the next week or two if the opportunity arises, because my comic store does provide some curbside kind of pickup for your pull list. But as for my actual pull list, have I cut anything off? Have I stopped picking up certain titles? No. Should I? Who knows? I am looking for a new job, and I'm working on some side stuff too, like my business, my shirt business, as well as some other stuff I have in the works with some business partners. So really, I should be price conscious, but the only reason why I really haven't trimmed any titles off is because I haven't been buying comics. That and my comic book guy is very, very lenient. So if I don't grab everything at once, he's cool with it, and then I can always grab it later. So, anyways, I hope that answered your question. I haven't trimmed anything off yet, but that day might have to come depending on, once we get out of this pandemic, where things stand with me financially. Because, of course, bills and family come first. And gym supplements, unfortunately. Scott Taylor says, hey Andrew, I'm very excited for the live Q&A this Sunday. As always, Q&As are lots of fun to do. Thank you. Yes, they are. Here are 3 questions for the live Q&A this Sunday. Number 1, what is your favorite Batman storyline of all time? Number 2, what is your top favorite movie of all time in the DCEU? And number 3, what is your number 1 favorite DC crossover event of all time? Have a very good day, Andrew. I enjoy your live Q&As this Sunday. And plus, Batman has always been my number one favorite superhero of all time in the DC universe. Awesome. Well, thank you for all the kind words, and Batman is the fucking man. Let's take this one at a time. Number one, what is my favorite Batman storyline of all time? As of right now, and I think it's been submitted, unless something else trumps it, is going to be Batman Hush. There's so many reasons, and in my essential Batman comic list, the beginner's guide, I was going to go in deep about Batman Hush and why. There's so many reasons, from the utilization of Batman's supporting characters, villains, and heroes, to the great pacing of the story, to the excellent internal dialogue, to the utilization of Batman Catwoman's relationship, the ultimate reveal of who the real mastermind is, the utilization of Batman's past in the storyline, and of course the action and the fantastic artwork by Jim Lee. To get Jim Lee, an artist of his caliber, and I mean this as no insult, but to get him to be able to pull off 12 issues in a run is fantastic and is always a treat. And I say that because for him to draw, or for anyone his caliber to draw that much, it's taxing and it's difficult. So to get that much out of him was fantastic. It checks all the right boxes. Right, there's a lot of Batman stories that come close, like Year One, Long Halloween, Nightfall, Court of the Owls, but Batman Hush is still my favorite. I love it. What's my favorite DC EU movie of all time? So this is just from Man of Steel onward in that DC EU world. That's a tough one too. I have to say, if I had to think about it off the top of my head, and I know I'm in the minority with, it would come down to three films, right? Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. And although I love Superman so much, the Man of Steel film, and I know a lot of people don't, and I'm in the minority on this, but although I like that a lot, I think although Wonder Woman had not as strong of an ending, I think Wonder Woman as a whole was a better package filmed. And between that and Aquaman, whew, that's really tough, because Aquaman's a really good, fun, rewatchable film with a good ending. But I would have to go with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is probably my favorite DC extended universe film right now. Not my favorite DC film, but definitely in the DCEU, it's up there. That could change tomorrow. I've been watching a lot of the DCEU with HBO Max now, so never know. I might rewatch something and something might be better. Who knows? I'm gonna give Shazam another try, so we'll see. What's one of you? What is your number one favorite DC crossover event? So I assume you mean like Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, Blackest Night. That's a tough one because there's a lot of good ones. I mean, you can put stuff on the top like Blackest Night and Crisis on Infinite Earths. I love those crossovers. Metal was really fun and really good too. Um, but if I had to pick the one that probably gave me pound for pound the most joy, and it's not a perfect crossover event, but I really enjoyed 52. I think the 4-volume, 52 issue, 52 storyline was really, really fun. It covered so much of the DC universe, and it focused on so many characters, and not necessarily particularly big characters either. Just comic book characters in general. Some really good storylines. On a whole, I think it's one of my favorite crossover events, and this is universe spanning, not just like a Batman crossover like Court of the Owls, not Court of the Owls, Battle for the Cowl. You're talking about universe, DC universe. Then I would have to say it's 52 off the top of my head. That might change. I'm looking at my comic books down there. See Infinite Crisis. I see Identity Crisis, Crisis on Infinite Earths, Trinity, Blackest Night, Brightest Day. Yeah, I'll go with 52. So thank you for the questions. Moving on. Kerouac, did your parents repaint that red room after you moved out? Oh, yeah. Right away. My mother took that room and she turned it into like a closet room for her and a makeup room. So I believe, I don't know for sure, the color has to be some kind of either white, cream, or blue, or pink. It's something along that lines. I haven't been in that room that much since I moved out. 2013 is when I got married, so 7 years ago. Shit. So in 7 years, I've probably been in that room 4 times, maybe. I just don't go upstairs in my parents' house anymore. When I go over to my parents' house to visit or bring the boys over, we stay downstairs or I'll go to the gym, one of the two. But yeah, that room was seconds. I was probably out the door and they were already started painting it. My mother was probably looking at paint colors while I was giving my vows. Valos. How excited are you to have your boy Jason return as the Red Ranger? That's number one. Number two, how at this point can DC establish the cinematic universe to be on par with Marvel in your opinion? Okay, so let's take question number one. You picked a good question, and I am going to run out of battery power on this, so bear with me. I'm going to try to extend this battery. Little technical difficulties, but hopefully we can make this work. Okay, got that. And geez, it worked. It's fantastic. Sorry about that, guys. Had to plug it in. I had to move a shelf out with a bunch of comics, so that was a pain. I can even show you. Let's see if I can flip this around. I just had to move that, which doesn't look like much, but pulling that out with all those comics in there, not easy. And I just fished it over, but let's flip that around and readjust it. So, first question, how excited am I about my boy Jason returning as the Red Ranger? Fantastic. I am over the moon because you know how much I love Jason. He's my favorite Red Ranger. I mean, I showed you last week how many figures I have of him, and probably one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. Even though he's not an incredibly in-depth character, for what depth we have, it's fantastic. I think it's a good sign. I think it's good for the character, right? Because he kind of left off hanging at the end of Forever Red. And Jason was fortunate because he got to come back more than some other characters did. He came back in Zeo, he came back in Forever Red. He got more than, say, Zach did, or even Kimberly did, or Trini, R.I.P. Twee. So he got a lot more than a lot of other characters from that era, and even more than many other Rangers, but he also didn't quite get as much as, say, other people. Cough. Tommy. Cough, Tommy. Tommy has had a lot, and Tommy has been overutilized. I think Tommy was great in Down of Thunder, but just too much after the fact with the Legendary Battle and the Ninja Seal crossover. So it's good to get the reins to someone else, and I'm happy it's Jason. I'm happy they're having this big Dino team up. What I want is I want simple things from this. I want to see Jason be a badass. I know this is asking for much. I want to see him use the Gold Ranger powers at one point. I know that's kind of tough because Trey probably still has them. But hey, at this point, if you can have a Master Morpher with Tommy, why not with Jason? I would love to see him use the Dragon Shield because Jason with the Dragon Shield was my favorite version of him. And I know this is not going to happen, but I think it would be pretty cool if they brought in the Omega Ranger powers from the comics and make that canon. That would be amazing. But I think it's really good. After this, I think they should also focus on some other characters coming back and starring in crossovers, but this is great. It's just a shame they couldn't get anyone else from Mighty Morphin. I don't know if that's because maybe Austin cost too much money, because he is one of the biggest names in Power Rangers, or maybe there was no interest in the from the actors, Amy Jo or David Yost, um, or so on and so forth, right? I don't know, but having him come back is fantastic. So I will stop there. I could go on for hours talking about what I would want and what I don't want, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, it's only one episode that he's going to be in, apparently, but we can make it work. Forever Red was one episode and is considered one of the best of all time. As for how at this point can I establish a DC cinematic universe, there's two ways that I would build upon a DC cinematic universe. Number one, and I think the easiest way, and I think what they should do is build it off the Batman. The Batman is supposed to be this Robert Pattinson Batman is supposed to be a three movie long event, not event, but a series, kind of like the Dark Knight series. And there's going to be a lot of characters spanning out of it. The Penguin, Catwoman, Riddler, Two-Face, so on and so forth. So I know those are Batman characters, but if you're going to reestablish a DC cinematic universe, let's start fresh. Just rip off the Band-Aid. Just go with that. And you can actually have two cinematic universes. You can have the Batman one, and then you can have the old guard DC cinematic universe. The second thing is Flashpoint. Have the Flash movie be about Flashpoint, and have that readjust the DC cinematic universe. I think that's the second way you can get some kind of cinematic universe back. But I don't think they should go out of their way to make it happen. I think they should just focus on pulling out good movies like The Joker, or like Wonder Woman, or like Aquaman or Shazam. Like, those movies had no connection to the actual DC universe. So that's kind of the direction they should be going, in my opinion. Waja Hassan, I hope I said your name right. How have you been keeping mentally? I'm finding this lockdown has been very hard, but I'm going back to work next week. How are you keeping? I am suffering a lot, but I know a lot of people have lost their jobs. I hope you are well. Thank you. I think I'm doing better than most, but not as good as some. Losing my job is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's tough not being employed, especially during a pandemic like this. Luckily, I was wise enough to save money and to put money away, so I have a little bit of a nesting egg that I can sit on, as well as I've been doing a lot of vesting this past year, so I've got money in other avenues. So, but losing a job is always tough. But I'm happy it kind of happened. Not to go into too much detail, but Enterprise was good to me up to a point, but after a while, it was not good to me. And I don't blame Enterprise per se. I kind of blame some of the people there. And I won't go into names or anything like that. But Enterprise, a lot of the things you hear about them is pretty true. They use you and burn you. And after 7 years of putting blood, sweat, and tears, working 12-hour days, working weekends, I was hoping for more. I was expecting more, and I didn't get more. So, once, it's easy for people to say, yeah, once a door closes, another one opens, but that's the case, right? I'm working on other stuff. I'm working on other projects on the side. Like I said, I'm working on a clothing company with my partner. I think the link is down below. We're actually going to be posting up some new comic book t-shirts that we've been working on. Hopefully we get that up before Father's Day. I'm going to be doing some collaborations with some of my friends. And we're also going to be, and I can give you kind of a sneak preview, we're going to be starting up a podcast too. So that's going to be interesting too. So we're kind of viewing different avenues. And I don't know if financially they're going to be as successful right away. And I'll probably still have to get a job. But, I mean, losing the job sucked. But I think there's stuff that... can come from it. And I was ultimately going to leave Enterprise anyways. So this was kind of my way of, how can I say? It's kind of like when you want to break up with someone, but you don't want to hurt their feelings, or you're so committed to that relationship. and then they break up with you, and it's kind of it just you don't understand how much of a weight has come from my off my shoulders, and I feel so much better mentally in that regards. As for the pandemic lockdown, yeah, it's I think I'm doing better than some, but not quite as others. I know my wife in particular has taken it kind of hard. I have kind of taken a step back because I'm staying relatively positive on how this is going to end and when it's going to end. And so far, I think the thing that's for me been mentally tough has been not having the regular things that I like to do. Going into Boston, which is not a thing to do right now, but going to Boston or going to a restaurant, or I think the biggest thing, I know I say this a lot, but like going to the gym. I would go to the gym 4 times a week before this happened for an hour and a half at a time, and it was a huge stress relief. Um, and not to have that is tough. Luckily, I've been able to supplement it by going to my parents' house, but like not playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends every other Friday. I do an online game with another one of my friends, but my regular group that I've been DMing for 14 years, I haven't been able to play with them in 2 months. It's been tough. Not being able to chill with my boys, it's been tough. Yeah, all this is tough, but we'll get through this. The human race has a impeccable track record of overcoming adversity and challenges. This is an adversity and challenge that we have faced. And I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, actually. It's one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. And he was talking to someone that was in the military. It might have been Dan Henshaw. I could be wrong. And he explained it best. If he could explain this pandemic in military terms, we've encountered an enemy that we know nothing about, and instead of engaging the enemy full frontal, we're taking a step back. So, and evaluating the situation. That's what it is. Luckily, and I could be wrong, I've heard the numbers are still bad, but they're not as bad as we were projecting. And things are starting to reopen. As you can see, your boy got a haircut. So I'm happy about that, and I got the clean shave, which is nice. So there's some normalcy coming back. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you that you've been having it tough too, because I know, like I said, my wife has been really taking it hard, especially with everything going on right now. In addition to the coronavirus, it's making things. The media always focuses on if it bleeds, focus on it. And with so much stuff coming on the internet and on the media and all that stuff, it's hard to get some normalcy back. But you know what? The best thing we can do is just find a way to supplement it, just keep focus. And my thing really has just been eating right, discipline, waking up in the morning, finding some kind of value in what I do every day, and being with my family. So I probably spent too long on that question. I'm sorry, but let's continue. Ex Valos, who would win a fight, Angel versus Steven or Damon Salvatore? And I looked up these two cats that you're presenting to fight my boy Angel. They're from the Vampire Diaries, I believe. I have not watched the Vampire Diaries, so I cannot give you an accurate who would win. However, based off my knowledge of Angel, who is a master martial artist, a 400-year-old vampire who is incredibly strong and incredibly smart, I give it to my boy Angel every time. All the time, every time, all day, every day. Toracube, good to see you jumping on and throwing a question out there, my friend. Do you think the New 52 alternative world stuff has damaged creativity? Since no one can die, they are either cloned or it's another universe, etc. Doesn't it make it lazy writing? So I assume you're talking about with like Doomsday Clock, and if I'm wrong, please forgive me or correct me. I assume you're talking about when Doomsday Clock says that whenever reboot happens, they basically cut, copy, paste the universe and make a separate world. So you have Earth 2, you have Earth 1985, you have Earth New 52. I'm very mixed on that. On one end, I think is a good way to keep certain stories alive and to have a universe that can be explored in different ways. Have alternate universes, have almost like an ultimate universe that Marvel had. But on the same side, I think it's also kind of lazy because these characters, these continuity stories are things that we're supposed to get value from and we're supposed to love. And when you take them away, you make them not part of main continuity, or you cut, copy, paste them, or people's deaths don't matter, it devalues the stuff that we enjoy reading. New 52, I'm going to take that because it's the most controversial of the reboots, and I think it's the one that I've often spoke about. Was a mixed bag. It had a ton of things wrong. Superman was poorly done. The concept of 5 years was poorly done. Teen Titans were bastardized. Not enough focus were given to the new properties that were brought in, like the Wildstorm properties, Grifter and Voodoo, even though they had good comics, Voodoo in particular. It just was a cobble mess, and it was thrown together. But on the flip side, there was a lot of good stuff that came from it. Character redesigns, the costumes from the New 52 were beautiful. Story arcs from Batman, Aquaman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman were among some of the best that those characters had in years. Justice League was the best that it was since Grant Morrison. So there was a lot of good going on in there. It's just unfortunately now that we do Rebirth, like the continuity is a mess. Rebirth is happening right now. So technically, what is in canon? Parts of the New 52 still canon, but parts are not. So is it an alternate world where all that stuff happens? Is it just like, what is the DC universe now? They have to put out a history of the DC universe to validate a lot of our stories. But if I read 2 years of a comic, let's just take someone. If I read 2 years of Cyborg being on the Justice League, and then the Justice League, his adventures on them are no longer canon, that devalues my time with Cyborg on the Justice League because those stories didn't happen. It's frustrating, but you can't control that stuff, right? That's just how comic books are. Marvel has a messy continuity too, just in a different way than DC. Although I have to admit, DC has been attempting to fix it with Rebirth and Doomsday Clock, but they should put me in charge because I would fix it. I have a 15-year DC Universe plan that would work out perfectly. Not just that, comic book companies shouldn't be scared about moving forward. I like the concept that Superman has a son. I like the concept that Batman and Catwoman are now having a daughter. Like, these are things that should move the continuity and stories forward. They shouldn't reboot afterwards and whitewash this stuff. This is good stuff. So, yeah. So anyways, going into the comments, let's see if I can pull them up. Okay, first, Clock Nova 1, UFC last night. Did I watch UFC last night? No, I didn't. I don't watch UFC as much as I probably would want to. Plus, last night was more of a family night. Waja Hazan, hey, just got your question, so thank you. Hayden, I know you're regular. I know you regularly did Buffy and Angel reviews back in the day. What did you think of how Dark Horse era ended, and are you reading the Boom stuff? So, how did I think the Dark Horse stuff ended? The Dark Horse comics for Buffy was good up until Twilight was revealed to be Angel, and that's where it went over the top. Superman like powers that Buffy and Angel had, Angel doing a heel turn and then turning back, the death of Giles and having him come back as a kid, magic being a commonplace across the world, I think was I just think the comic fell apart. How did it end though? If my recollection was Buffy was with Spike, Angel was still working in London with Winifred. Dawn was with Xander. I don't think it ended necessarily bad, but I don't think it set up things going forward for a new series. So in saying that, I of the comic series for Angel and Buffy, the only things that I really liked were Buffy up until that Twilight reveal. Angel After the Fall, I thought was fantastic. And then the Angel and Faith stuff was pretty good too. And then Spikes with his one shots were pretty decent too, but the main Buffy comic suffered. As for the Boom Studio ones, I haven't read those. I've kind of taken a bit of a break from Buffy and Angel. Not that I don't love them. I just think the universe got a little out of control. And I hate to do this because I love After the Fall, but in my head canon, the comics don't happen. I know they are technically still considered canon, but they need to clean that up. I don't know if Joss Whedon or someone else needs to, but they need to trim that because season 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of Buffy just was out of control. In my opinion, right? Um, Okay, X Valis. You did great there, man. I remember it was like every other month you kept us saying, I got a promotion. I'll check out your merchandise on your new store. Well, thank you, man, on both of those. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, and I won't stick on Enterprise too long. Enterprise was really good for me for the first, I want to say, 5 years of my 7 years being there. I got promoted a lot. I was one of the fastest growing branch managers. I got a flagship manager position twice. I was at a location in which I was running 5 offices at once. Um, I just, it just, again, I'm not going to go into it. People don't quit a job for the job a lot of times. They quit the job because of the boss, if that makes sense. That and the hours were just too much. I had to make a change. But yeah, definitely. There were some really good points, and I made a lot of good friends there that I love and adore and I stay in touch with. And a lot have affected my life in various ways. There's at least 3 people I can think of just off the top of my head who have influenced my life positively. And they weren't superiors either. There are people that I worked under that, were younger than me, that had a certain wisdom to them on how they did things that I adopted to myself, and I 100% I've given them credit for that too. As for my merchandise, I appreciate you looking at it. A lot of the merchandise we have right now is kind of just geared towards a female audience, in terms of like dog lovers and mother and nurses and teacher stuff. But by the end of the month, we're going to be pulling out some more merchandise, all comic book stuff. We have we had a nice meeting, me and my partner, last week. And not last week, this past Friday, and was it Friday? Yeah, Friday. No, yesterday. No, Friday. Friday. Yeah. We had a really good meeting where we knocked out. We have 5 new shirts coming out, 5 or 6 new shirts. We should have them out by the end of the month. I'm going to do more of a video talking about that, among other things, when I get to that point. But thank you for looking at that. Listen, guys, any support you can give me would be fantastic. This is uncharted territory for me in terms of doing a new business, especially a self-made business. Luckily, I have an incredible partner who's working with me. We met at Comic-Con. He watched my videos, and he heard my loud, obnoxious voice, and we got to talking, and then bada bing, bada boom, we became friends, and now we're running a company together, or we're starting up a startup company. So any support you can give is fantastic. We do have some more merchandise coming out at the end of the month, so again, I'll update that later. Let's see. Next, Waja Hassan, will you ship to the UK for t-shirts? Yeah. For the t-shirts, we're using TeeSpring as our t-shirt site. If you don't know what TeeSpring is, it is a website in which you put the designs that you make on the shirts, and they produce the shirts for you. The shirts should ship anywhere in the world, as long as you provide the address. It's actually a really good site. They also have something called a trust score. So the more merchandise that's purchased by people will then influence our trust score to go up, and the more marketing that goes into our products. But yes, I believe it does ship to the UK. I'll double check on that just to be sure. But I'll check with my partner. I'm 99% sure. X-Valis, a perfect analogy. I'm in the same situation. I wish to leave my wife of 10 years as I'm miserable, and I wish she would just fire me. Yeah, listen, marriage is tough. So that is a pretty straightforward analogy that I use. But marriage also can be a beautiful thing when done correctly between two people. It's not easy. Anyone that goes in thinking marriage is easy, it's not. But we are not talking about marriage right now. Um, Geez, this position makes me look fat. Nope, don't do that. Okay. Okay, Fabe, my boy Connor. Who would win in a fight between Deadpool and Lobo? Who would win in a fight? The fans. Um, uh, I think Deadpool would definitely do more damage to Lobo, but you gotta understand is there's two things Lobo might have over Deadpool. Number one, Lobo can't die. As long as there's a drop of blood, he can come back from a drop of blood. I don't know Deadpool well enough. I think he has a mutant healing factor and equivalent to Wolverine, if not a little bit more. But I think technically Deadpool can die. Number two is Lobo is classed much higher up than Deadpool. He's gone up against the likes of Superman. So again, the fans would win, but my bet is on Lobo. I saw a comment down here from where is it? X Val is saying that Deadpool would mop Lobo. I have to agree to disagree with you there. Waja Hassan, what did you think of Doomsday Clock? I think Doomsday Clock was really fun. It was for a continuity buff like me. It was great to see the very beginning of the DC universe from the 1930s and how it's evolved and changed and how that ties into things. I think there were some really good themes. I thought there was some good ideas that were done, how continuity works, how Superman's center continuity. I think it suffered heavily by being released and having the delays. I think that it will overall be a better read in trade. Um, and I think it kind of left things hanging on exactly what continuity was at the end of it. But it was a fun read. I enjoyed it. The art was great. And I think the showdown between Dr. Manhattan and Superman is what the showdown should be, right? That should be how Superman would react to that situation. So, good read. Not perfect, but good read. Um, Hayden, I understand what you mean. There was some solid stuff, but when Angel started dating Illyria, I wasn't as into it. Yeah, him fucking Illyria or Fred, just I always saw Fred as like a little sister to Angel, not as a love interest. So again, I just the shows are what I see as canon now. Um, I think I skipped one. X Valis, I 100% agree. The comics are just not canon to me. Yeah. You also said Deadpool can't die either. Lobo is stronger, but Deadpool is a better fighter. Uh, yeah, again, I'm not as knowledgeable on Deadpool. I think Deadpool has more to his repertoire. If they can't kill each other, then it really doesn't matter. So, again, fans win. So I think we're caught up on the comments down here. If you guys have any other questions, throw them out, and I'll answer them. We still have probably like 15 minutes before I would have to hop off. But I've really enjoyed this Q&A that we've done so far. And of course, if you guys want to do this more often, maybe we can do it maybe every 2 weeks or maybe every month. Who knows? I'm really trying to find kind of a good footing on what people enjoy right now with videos. Is it reviews so much, or is it news, or is it opinionated stuff? I kind of want to do a power scaling video sometime soon, talking about who's the best fighter in the DC universe, how strong Superman actually is, who is the most broken character in the DCU, various different stuff. But that's stuff I have to work on. That's stuff I have to think about too. So let's see. Anyone comment at all? Nope. So I'll give you guys a couple more minutes if you want to throw a question down there. If not, we'll end things up. My next video I'm going to probably post up um, sometime midweek this week coming up. And then I have a collaboration that I'm going to be working on with my buddy. He actually just rang out to me before this video started up, so I've talked to him about it, but I can give you more details on that when we get to it. I did see another one coming in from our boy X Valis. Last two questions. How pumped are you for Jason's return? And what are your thoughts on Robert Pattinson's new Batman? And the third, should he kick off the new DC cinematic universe? Yeah, like I said, I am super pumped for Jason coming back. I think it's the right time, the right place. I said everything in the previous question that was asked about Jason coming back. I do think that he shouldn't have shaved, but if he comes back and he rocks the Dragon Shield, he rocks the Gold Ranger powers, and he rocks the Omega Ranger powers, I'd be pumped. And if Austin stayed, that would be fantastic. But I know it's going to be a one episode deal. Um, and what was the rest? Was it Robert Pattinson's Batman? I have no thoughts on it right now. I have high hopes, you know, cautionary hopes, but I do think that he could pull it off. As for starting off as the new DC cinematic universe, yeah, I said that it's definitely a good spot to go if they wanted to start off with a new, stronger universe. Hayden, what's your preferred format of collecting? Single issues, trades, or omnibus editions? Right now, single issues. It used to be trades. As you guys know, I used to review trades like crazy. But there's just something about getting your comics every week and getting that chapter and reading it and staying on top of it. It was frustrating when I was doing the trades and always being like 3 storylines behind what was being covered currently. So that was always annoying. But if I had to say so, right now, definitely individual issues. I never really pick up omnibuses though. I mean, if you count the Showcase Present stuff as omnibus, I guess, or the archive stuff. But if I get trades, I get trades. I haven't really picked up many lately. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's it. If there's any other questions, I'll let you guys throw it out. And then I hear the wife moving downstairs like a dinosaur. So I know she's almost complete getting the boy ready. One of my boys, my oldest, he slept over his grandparents last night. My mother and father-in-laws. And then my youngest stayed here with us. He's like 1 3/4, I think, and he still has trouble sleeping through the night sometimes. So the rule is they have to completely sleep through the night to stay over the grandparents. As for my oldest, he gets spoiled when he goes over there. He has, like, I know he doesn't go to bed until 11 o'clock. I know it. So he's gonna be overtired today, and he's gonna be hyperactive. But it's good sometimes to have a night to chill and relax. I forget what we did last night. We watched some comedy special. And then I think we fell asleep. I fell asleep watching Venture Brothers. I've been catching up on Venture Brothers. I'm on season 7. So, yeah. So, anyways, X Valis, this is the last comment we'll do. Keep up the YouTube stuff, bro. And good luck on the t-shirt company. Peace out, man. Thank you, bro. And I think this is a good place for us to end this video. I appreciate everyone coming on. I appreciate all the questions that were sent out. How about you guys in the comments for this video after I click? Well, no, that doesn't work. Next video I'll send. Oh, you know what? I'll put a poll on Twitter. And the poll on Twitter, I want you guys to vote on. I'm going to ask how often you want me to do these live Q&As. So I'll post that poll up next hour or two, and I'll do every other week, every other 2 weeks, or every month, and I'll post that up, and you guys can comment on how often I'll do the live Q&As. With that said, this is Andrew saying thank you to everyone. Thank you for all the love and support. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. I have 2 Instagrams, one for me personally, one from my Dungeons & Dragons art. Follow me on TikTok. And then if you want to head over to my new clothing site. So that said, this is Andrew saying peace out for now. Boom.